Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's educational presentation on a Monday where we are going to be introducing a brand new tool, a brand new feature we have that we call the PTR, which stands for the Primo Trend Reversal Trading Tool. This promises to be a great educational presentation because we finally put it all together. We had some difficulty before programming this and making sure that it was up to speed on our platform. But now we're really excited because we're seeing some amazing results now that we can easily access it on the PTS Primo charting platform. For example, let's take a look at this chart here. Now, someone looking at this would normally say, well, INTU is in an uptrend, so there's no reason to go against it, right? Well, the PTR actually identified that there was going to be a trend change right here on this single bar. And look what happened to the stock. It fell 60 points in the next week. Now, the PTR also identifies when something is going lower, because as we see here, we were in a downtrend. But on this specific bar right here, the PTR identified that the trend would be reversing. And on a weekly ISRG chart, the stock went up 170 points in the next 6 months. So this is what we're going to be talking about today, and you'll see the ease of access using the PTS Primo charting platform that actually auto-identifies these PTR trend reversal setups. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Steve Primo. I'm the president and founder of Specialist Trading. I've been trading now for 47 years. I started my career on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange, where I was trading for 16 years, and 9 of those years I was a specialist, where I'd made markets in roughly about 50 or 60 stocks. So in my 47 years of trading, I've traded just about every system, every strategy, every technique you can think of. I've traded just about every market environment, straight up, straight down, sideways markets. And as I often say, I know what works in terms of consistency, and I know what doesn't work. So about 15 years ago, I teamed up with proprietary strategies with one goal, and that was simply to educate traders. And you'll see that in today's presentation with the consistency in the new PTR feature. Now, before we begin, please take a moment to view our disclaimer. I'm going to show you a lot of current performance results using the PTR, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, we have a good-sized crowd here today. I think everyone wants to see what this new tool is all about. But I see some new names. If you haven't done so already, please feel free to follow us on Twitter or X. There's our handle right there at SPCLSTTRADG. Every day I post 5 or 6 different snapshots of signals or techniques that have generated signals on Twitter or X. And I also post little bits of financial wisdom. So there's lots of great education on a daily basis. Also, we are currently live streaming this on YouTube. So if you would rather view our presentations that way and you can watch old performances, just kindly subscribe to YouTube, our YouTube channel right there. Click the subscribe button and you'll be able to see more and more of these presentations, okay? Now, as I stated earlier, we are an educational company. So even though I'm introducing the new PTR, it's all about teaching you so that you can ultimately make your own trading decisions. That's what our goal is as an educator. I know a lot of you want to simply buy or sell something, but we're really trying to educate you. And even though the PTR is a proprietary tool, the secret is in learning how to apply it properly and knowing when to apply it, knowing when not to apply it, and knowing how to enter, how to place your stops, how to exit. This is what we're going to be teaching in the course, because there are a lot of ways to manage the trade with the PTR. And it gets a little bit intense in some points because it is a specific type of tool that determines what the trend will be when it reverses. But as we say here, that's all part of the education process, and this is what we're all about. So it's not just a black box where we just say, if it says sell, sell it. If it says buy, buy it. That's not what we're about. We want to teach you how to trade with the PTR. But with that stated, let's begin, and let me share with you some of the highlights of this new feature. It's our most dynamic new trading tool. Why? Because it really, to the accuracy of a pinpoint, it really is designed to identify these reversal bars. Now, when we say reversal, we're not trying to pick a top or a bottom. That's not what this is about. What we're doing is identifying when a current trend has changed and a new one is beginning. So it's all about still following and being in sync with the trend. We just want to know when one has ended and one is beginning. So we're not trying to pick a top or a bottom. Oftentimes you will see the PTRs, I'll show you in some examples, it does pick the exact high and the exact low. But what the PTR was designed to do was not that. It's designed to identify when the market is about to reverse. Now it does this with amazing pinpoint accuracy. And you'll see that in just a few minutes when I share with you a lot of examples. Now, you can apply it to any market and any time frame. So I know a lot of you will say, well, Steve, I don't trade stocks, and most of your examples are in stocks. Well, I'll show you some currency pair. I'll show you some ETF examples. It makes no difference because the PTR is based off a proprietary indicator and the indicator's relationship to itself. In other words, a lot of times we will talk to you about, let's say, for example, the buy-sell line. Well, the buy-sell line, which is the 50-period moving average, looks at the overall trend, the longer-term trend. And it does this by its relationship with the current price. With the PTR, it's a little bit different. It has a proprietary indicator, but it comes up with its signals based on past movement within that same indicator and its relationship to where it is right now. So that's a really key, interesting thing about the PTR. It's not looking at any other tools, any other markets. It's simply looking at its past performance in a current proprietary tool. Now, there are numerous ways to apply and trade with the PTR. We will go over this in our upcoming course, which will be happening very soon, and which will keep it to a small amount of people because we always like to keep our first courses very intimate so that people can ask questions and we don't feel as if there's too many people in the course where you don't have enough time to get to everyone's questions or interests. So we'll cover exactly how to monitor the trades, what are the best setups, and also we'll show with you how you can trade the PTR not only conservatively, but aggressively as well. Okay, with the highlights out of the way, let's get to it. Let me share with you some current examples, okay? All right, now here's an example in BIIB, Biogen. This is where most traders have difficulty trying to determine when a trend reverses. Usually they're looking at either a chart pattern. Let's say they're looking at when a certain candlestick pattern tells you that it's a reversal, or they're looking at some type of technical analysis, a trend line or a broken support, or they have some convoluted indicator which says something is overbought or oversold. And usually what happens when you get a signal like this, well, you jump in and say, okay, the trend is about to change. Looks like we've hit some type of support here. And look what happens. It goes lower, and in a matter of days, it's making lower lows. And now you say to yourself, well, I can either get out with a loss or I can buy some more. And that guy in the chat room says this is the real area where it's going to change trend. So I guess I'll just buy some more, and I don't need for it to go up so much because that way I can break even much sooner. So you buy some more, you do what we call doubling up, and look what happens. It's going even lower. So at this point, you have a dilemma. You either sell with a major loss, or you say, oh, I'm in this for the long haul, and the minute I get a little bit of my gains back, I'm getting out, all right? And that's a terrible way to trade because you're really out of sync with the market. Look what the PTR did. Based on its proprietary method, it didn't generate any signals all the way down until this bar right here. It said, according to the proprietary indicator and the settings, it said most likely the trend is about to change based on this bar. And look what happened. Right after that, the market went up 40 points. Here's another example in AMD, okay? Now, someone looking at this would say, well, gosh, Steve, you know, that guy in that chat room says you have to sell this. All the indicators are overbought. It's never been this extremely high before in such a short time, so you got to sell, right? Well, let's just say you were thinking about it, and the next week or so, it did go down. So you say to yourself, boy, that guy's right. I know he's never wrong with his signals. I go to his channel all the time, so I'll sell. And then look what happens. A month later, you're making new highs, all right? Well, the PTR didn't get caught in any of that. In fact, it didn't generate a signal at all until this bar right here, where it said, now it appears that there is a trend change in place. And remember, this is not based on any patterns, any candlestick patterns, on any overbought, oversold indicators. It's based on a proprietary indicator and its relationship with itself, how it monitors past performance within itself. And look what happened here. 65 points to the downside right after that. Here's an example in CDW, okay, CDW Corp, all right? The market has been going lower. It was on this bar that the PTR generated a buy signal, and it was just about a week ago. Buy signal was generated, saying that there's most likely going to be a change in trend, and 23 points coming into last week, just in 4 days. Now we look at Amgen here. We see here that a signal was generated right here at this top, and the market quickly fell 30 points. You had 30 points to work with in which to take a profit. Now, remember, the PTR is just based on this indicator and its relationship with itself. So it's not going to always generate signals at exact bottoms or exact tops. For example, the market changed trends right here, but the PTR did not find that relationship, so it did not generate a signal. But regardless, you had 30 points to work with. And I think in our course, we would teach you ways in which to exit to take some profits, or at the very least, you would have broken even. Now, the market went straight up. It was at this point that the PTR kicked in again and said, all right, here's a sell signal. And it went down 55 points. The good news is, if you missed that, it generated another sell signal here. Let's look at CVX. Now, sometimes it works the opposite way. For example, you could have gotten a sell signal right here at the top, ridden down for 10 points until you got a buy signal. Cover your short, take the 10-point profit or so, and you could have potentially captured 8 points. So sometimes it will be able to generate these kind of swing trades. I'll show you some more examples in just a little minute here. As we look at CDNS, we see that where most traders would have thought we topped out here and we came down for about a week. The PTR didn't do anything until this point. I know a lot of you would say, well, that's a bearish engulfing pattern. Is this based on candlesticks? No, it's not, because you'll see a lot of examples which have nothing to do with candlestick patterns. It just happens to be a coincidence that a sell signal was generated and the market fell 45 points coming into last week. Now, a lot of traders like to determine when a trend is going to change using technical analysis 101. For example, they like to see a trend change when we have some type of resistance or trend line has been broken. Now, we have a downward trend line right here. And based on this bar, which was just about a month ago, that's where technicians would have said, okay, well, this is a buy signal, so I guess I should go long, right? And look what would have happened. Well, you would have had maybe 3 or 4 days of kind of sideways to up movement, and it went lower. The PTR didn't get sucked into that little counter move and generated a buy signal right here, and 30 points coming into the first or second week of July. Here's a sell signal in Dash, okay? Right at the top of this little mini bounce here. It happened to be the top of the market for the next 3 or 4 months because the stock fell 38 points. Now, if you see here, I think there was some news that came out once again where the stock gapped down much lower, about 10 points lower, but we were a full month ahead saying that the trend had changed. So if you listen to the PTR just simply as a trend directional tool, that you didn't even have to take the signal, just knowing that if the PTR had said that the trend was down, you would most likely wouldn't be in this stock or wouldn't be buying it at all. You would have missed that large gap down day. Now we know that not everyone just trades stocks, so the PTR can be applied to any market, any time frame. So let's look at some examples here. Here's a 4-hour chart of the Australian dollar. We have found through our research that oftentimes in these kind of back and forth range markets, the PTR works extremely well because it will generate these signals, tops and bottoms, extremely well. And they're not really tops and bottoms, they're just trend changes. That's all it is. So as you see here, you have a sell followed by a buy, and then another sell, another buy, another sell, and buys. So it's really a great tool to apply in any market, in any time frame. Here's another currency pair. Now, this was an example in the dollar-yen, a 4-hour chart. As we see here, the market had been bouncing on a 4-hour time frame. 2 PTR sell signals were generated, almost right next to each other, separated by a bar. And look what happened in the next day. The currency pair fell 400 pips. Now, it's obvious that we did not pick the exact high because for the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, it was a little bit higher. In the course, we will teach you ways in which to stay in the trade longer or to get back in if you happen to be stopped out. So many times there will be fits and starts where you'll see examples like this. And if you have a very tight stop, well, obviously it was a bad signal. It didn't work out correctly because you got stopped out with a tight stop. But we'll show you how you can get back in. This is all part of the money management. This is all part of monitoring the trade, which is so important with the PTR. And we will go into that extremely in detail in the course. Here's a weekly chart of Tesla going back a couple of years, back to 2022. And remember we talked about kind of these ranging markets where we go up, go down, we'll go up, go down. Well, Tesla on a weekly time frame followed into that category perfectly, because look at all the setups you could have got. Here was a buy signal in May of 2022, followed by a sell signal in August of that same year, and then another sell signal in July of 2023, followed by a buy signal on a weekly time frame in April, May of this year. So do you think any of these signals could have helped you? Let's look at a weekly chart of workday. Same thing applies here. We have a really strong upward market going up, absolutely no sign of it stopping. But on this one bar here, on this one weekly bar, the PTR generated a sell signal, which is basically just saying it's a trend reversal signal. And it's fallen 75 points. Now, we can also apply this to intraday trading. We know we have a lot of intraday traders. You can apply this to intraday E-mini trading, which I applied to myself. You can apply it also to intraday stock trading, intraday currency pair trading, even crypto. Here's a 10-minute chart of Microsoft. Just going back to last week. This was last week. And these were the actual setups that were generated using the PTR. On the close of the 16th, just one bar before the close, 10 minutes before the close, a sell signal was generated. If you wanted to hold that position overnight, that would have been a nice trade, because look what happened. It gapped down on the 17th, the very next day. And then it was followed by a buy signal. Now, once again, this wasn't the exact low. So most traders would say, well, if I'm using a tight stop, I most likely would have been stopped out. But we show you ways in which to get back in, okay? And you could have taken advantage of this little bounce here until a sell signal was generated. Once the sell signal was generated, well, you could have ridden this all the way down to the very bottom, and then a buy signal was generated on the 18th of last week of July. This was on a 10-minute chart of Microsoft. So trust me, you can use it on a 1 or 2 minute chart. You can use it on a 5-minute chart. You can use it on tick charts. It makes no difference. All right, now I want you to look at this chart here. Is it weekly chart of the spiders, right? That's the ETF that represents the S&P 500. Okay, we're on a weekly chart of the spiders, and as we can see, the market has been going straight up. All right, now this is very similar to what's been happening today, because this is not a current chart. If you look at the bottom of this chart, that's January 2020, 4 years ago. And we all know what happened a month or two after that. All right, the pandemic kicked in and the market fell out of bed. It looked like we were going into a depression. But while this market was still rising, we applied the PTR in our research, and guess what we found? A sell signal in the second week of January, telling you that the PTR has determined that most likely there's a high probability a trend change is going to take place very soon. Now, this is not based off, once again, any candlestick. It's not based off the trend line being broken, none of that. And look what happened. Now, it did break down for a week, but the next 3 weeks it bounced back. Now, if you had a tight stop, most likely you would have been stopped out. And most traders would say, well, that's a wrong signal. That's a bad signal. Well, not really, because once again, it's all on how you monitor the trade. There are ways to stay in that trade where you wouldn't have been stopped out. And if you were stopped out, there's ways to get back in, which we teach you only in the course. Now, we all saw what happened. So let's say you got stopped out. Well, you would have taken a loss here, a minor loss. But look what the gains, if you got back in, that you could have captured. Now, this is mid-March, when everyone thought the world was coming to an end, and we were in the midst of a very strong and very fearful pandemic. And look what the market did. The PTR generated a buy signal right in mid-March. And we all know what's happened after that. The market has not looked back, according to the S&P 500. And this is the spiders that represents that. So you see, even going back in history of these tremendous, tremendous swings and movements in the market, how well the PTR could have helped you in these trend changes. Okay, let's review. The PTR is our most dynamic new trend trading tool because it's specifically designed to identify these reversal bars. We've never had anything like this before at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies. We're always in sync with the trend. We're always trying to determine how to trade with the trend, but we've taken it up a notch and we've said, well, listen, we're still trying to be in sync with the trend. We're just trying to identify as close as possible when that trend is about to change. We're not trying to pick a top or bottom. We're just trying to have a green light go off when that trend is about to change. And this is the best thing I've found in my 47 years of trading. It has amazing pinpoint accuracy. You've seen the last examples I've just shared with you. Many times it picks the exact high bar or low bar for that trend change to take place. As you just saw with the spiders, though, it picked the area. It didn't pick the exact high bar. But once again, it all depends on your stop. If you have a tight stop, yes, it would have been most likely a stopped out presentation and you would have said, well, it didn't work. But once again, it's all about how you monitor it, how you get back in, and we will teach you how to do that, okay? Now, you can apply it to any market, any time frame. I showed you ETFs, currency pairs, stock markets, 10-minute time frames. And there are numerous ways to apply and to trade with the PTR. That's how versatile this great new dynamic trading tool is. So, because of this, we have a great discount for all of you before we have our upcoming course, in which I will be teaching to a select few how to actually trade the PTR. This is our new PTR Primo Trend Reversal Tool Special. You're going to get entirely new rules on how to trade this. This is our non-traditional indicator-based tool. Remember, most trend tools are used on standard technical analysis where you break a trend line or something is so-called overbought, oversold, or you're looking at a specific bar pattern. This has nothing to do with that. We're looking at a proprietary indicator and its relationship with its past plots. And that's how we come up with a determination of a trend is about to change. Once again, apply to any market, any time frame. In the course, I will teach you how to trade this both aggressively and conservatively, two different versions on how to trade it, all right? It has exact bar pinpoint accuracy. And because of this, you can apply this to option trading. I know a lot of you like to trade options. Think of it. If the trend is about to change and it's a downtrend currently, well, think of it. If the PTR signal is successful, you will be being able to, have some type of long call spread strategy at the very lows before the trend really moves, and vice versa. You can do it with individual markets as well, okay? Now, everything you saw today was displayed using the PTS Primo charting platform that I developed with Pro Trader Strategies. If you decide to become a student in the PTR course and a student of mine, well, you're all going to get a free full year of the PTS Primo charting platform because you can only use the PTR on our platform, okay? And with that platform, I know we have a lot of people in today's presentation that already are students of mine that have the platform, but I see a lot of new people out there that have never been students before. And you say to yourself, well, I just get this. Why do I need this platform if all I'm going to see is the PTR? I don't want to just have one platform for one tool. Well, you're going to get a host of dozens of different tools that you won't find anywhere else. These are tools that I've taken from my years on the trading floor. Things that you won't find on the major platforms because I've accumulated them and you'll only find on the PTS Primo charting platform. So along with the proprietary PTR tool, you also get our buy-sell line indicator. That's 4 different ways of finding out what the overall trend is. A strength of trend feature. This is going to be a great tool to apply with the PTR because it'll tell you if a trend is running out of steam or not. So if, let's say you are in a trade that the PTR got you long, well, you can use this to see if it's running out of steam or not. Should you be in that trade much longer, okay? You'll have a signal scanner. You can scan on a nightly basis for these PTR setups. You'll know exactly where one is for the next day, okay? Over 90 of the most prominent technical indicators, along with automatic exit levels. This is just one of the different ways in which to exit the trade. We'll show you how to use this, and these are just one click away on the platform. You click a certain tab and you'll see all of the exit points right there on the screen. And this all comes with personalized tech support. If for any reason you're having trouble using the platform, our tech support is right there to help you and explain things for you, okay? Now, the PTR, as you see, is an amazing pinpoint accuracy tool. It's very dynamic. It's brand new. You can be the first ones to use it. But if you're still not convinced, if you're still undecided, let me share with you something that just took place. All right. Yahoo Finance reported on Friday, just this past Friday, and we all remember this, Microsoft CrowdStrike issue causes largest IT outage in history. This was Friday, July 19th. Businesses worldwide grappled with an ongoing major IT outage on Friday as financial services and doctors' offices were disrupted, while some TV broadcasters went offline. Air travel has been hit particularly hard, with planes grounded, services delayed, and airports issuing advice to passengers. Now, the outage came as cybersecurity giant CrowdStrike, CRWD, experienced a major disruption early Friday following an issue with a recent tech update. So terrible news, right? We all experienced it. Feel bad for a lot of people. I'm on the West Coast, but a lot of people on the East Coast had it much worse. I feel bad for the people that were at the airport trying to wait for a flight. But let's share with you what happened with the stock, because the stock had actually been coming lower. And this is when the news came out, and this was the reason, okay? So the stock gapped down about 30 or so points. Well, guess what? Using the PTR, a full nearly 2 weeks in advance, it already determined that a trend change was about to take place. Now, isn't that funny? Because the news didn't come out till nearly 2 weeks later. How did the PTR know that the trend was about to change to the downside? That's how sensitive this tool is. And unfortunately, if we were able to have this out sooner, I know we had trouble with our programming and with applying it and make sure it was up to par on our platform. We weren't able to have this for students, but let's say we had had this a month earlier. You could have taken advantage of this, either being short CrowdStrike, or if you were long a position in this, you could have used this to say, well, gosh, if the trend is changing, I'm going to use this as an exiting tool. I'm not necessarily one who likes to buy puts or go short, but at least I know to get out because most likely the trend is going to change. And you could have saved yourself upwards of 90 points. Now, I took this snapshot on Friday, and that was 90 points to the downside. You could have captured or at least saved yourself. Now, right before I started this presentation today, we know CrowdStrike, if you look on your computers right now, it's down even more. The last I saw, it was down an extra 30 points. So we're talking about 120 points potentially you could have captured, or at least you could have saved yourself if you were long. That's how powerful this new tool is. So if you're a reversal trader, if you like to trade trend reversals, take your trading to the next level. You know, everything you've done before has been on a certain mediocre level. Take it to the next level with the new PTR. Remember, the PTR stands for the Primo Trend Reversal Trading Tool. Okay, so let's break it down. Our new PTR Primo Trend Reversal Tool Special, you get all this plus a full year of the platform. Now, the regular price would cost you close to $5,000. That's what we're going to advertise this for going forward. But because of the pre-launch, we're not going to do that. And all the people coming to today's presentation, we have a pre-launch discount down $500 to $44.95. That's 10% off the regular price. But if that is still too difficult a price for you to come up with, we understand. We're going to discount that with a great time for a payment plan. So if you want to have a payment plan for a fraction of the price of that $44.95, you can just put down a one-time deposit, establish a payment plan, and you can still be up and running and still be in our class, which will be happening very soon. Okay. Either way you decide to go, if you want to pay in full with the 10% discount, you're going to save $500. Or if you want to establish a payment plan, put down a very minuscule amount of money and just establish a payment plan, you're still going to get a full 12 months free of the platform. Okay. So this is a great, great offer. And that also comes with the live class, where I'll be teaching yours truly. I'll be teaching all of you in a live private webinar. Be one of the first to trade with the PTR. The public doesn't have access to this yet. No one is trading with this except yours truly. I'm the only one that's using this right now. So if you want to trade alongside with me, be one of the first to trade with the PTR, the Primo Trend Reversal tool, okay? Here's how to take advantage of this. Contact Pro Trader Strategies. I developed the tool with them and the platform with them. You can call them directly at area code 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants manning the phones. They would be happy to, at the very least, answer your questions if you have any more questions regarding pricing or discounts or setting up a a payment plan as well as what's offered on the platform as well. Now, that link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you to the info page. You can also sign up online there if you'd like. It's not a live link, but they've just posted a live link in the webinar chat. So if you go to the chat box, you'll see that there's a live link there, and you can click that on and we'll open up a browser for you, okay? All right, we are about the end of today's presentation. I promised I would get to any questions. I see we have some in the chat box, so let me just, in the question and answer as well, let me just open these. Someone's saying, how many wrong signals does it generate? Well, there's no, that's a statistical question, and we're not a statistical company. In other words, we would have to have statistics on every stock, every time frame, every different market, and we don't have the data or the research or the manpower to do that. All I can say is, if, as I shared with you, showing you a couple of examples, like the spiders, for example, if you had a type stock, which we teach you in the course, if you like to keep your risk to a minimum, most likely you would be stopped out on some of those examples. But we show you ways to get back in, and if it goes back into the trend that was originally designated, most likely you will recoup that loss and make more, okay? There's a high probability. So that's the beauty of trading with us, knowing the process. Let's see, let me open up another question right here. Let's see, let me get the question and answer box. Here we go. I have paid for the PTS, so when the indicator and classes start, thanks. The class, thank you so much, first of all, for your patronage. I appreciate it. Boy, that takes that's a good client and student of ours, because we haven't even come up with the first webinar and they're already in. So I like that. Thank you very much for your patronage and for your devotion to our products. The classes will probably begin within the next 2 weeks to a month, and most likely it'll be just one class, because we're only talking about one tool, okay? And the classes run anywhere from an hour to 3 hours. So it'll be within the next 2 to 4 weeks. That's when we'll decide. It all depends on how many people. So if a lot of people sign up for it, sometimes we close the door right away and we just have the first class, because we don't want to keep it. When I first started doing this 15 years ago, we would have dozens, if not hundreds of people in a class, and it wasn't intimate enough. People were afraid to ask questions. They didn't get their questions answered. There were too many in line. So we want to keep it to a smaller, specific number. So we'll wait to see how many people jump on board, okay? But thank you so much again, and the classes will start soon. And there'll be live classes like this where you can ask me questions. There'll be more fits and starts for question and answers, as opposed to this where we only take questions at the end. You can ask questions whenever you like, and there'll be a lot more examples as well, okay? We'll teach you how to trade with winning trades. We'll teach you how to trade through losing trades. We'll teach you how to monitor the trade and how to apply it to different markets, okay? Lots of different ways to apply it and lots of different ways to trade. Someone's asking, how does the PTR integrate with the PSBI and the PET-D? Well, it really doesn't. Those are different trending tools. The PET-D is a short-term trending tool, okay? And what it does is it just translates what the market wants to do on a tick-by-tick basis. But it doesn't really signal a trend change. And if it does signal that a trend changes, many times it's a little delayed, because it takes anywhere from 3 to 5 bars of a certain color to tell you that the trend has changed, okay? Now, the PTR doesn't do that. The PTR just gives you one exact bar. Whether it's right or wrong, it gives you one bar that says, based on everything that is a requirement in this specific study, the trend is changing, okay? Now, the PSBI is also a trend changing type of feature, but it gives you an area. Once again, it paints a block and says most likely the area is somewhere around here. And to be conservative, when it leaves that area, that's when you should get in. The PTR is different. The PTR doesn't have an area. The PTR says on this block, this is most likely the highest probability that through the process, a trend is changing. Now, is it right 100% of the time? No, nothing's right 100% of the time. But that's how it's different. Where those are looking at a specific number of bars or a specific area, like the PSBI, this is looking specifically for a 1 bar accuracy. That's it. That's how it's so different from these other ones, okay? Let's see, any other questions we have here? Yeah, you can use it on the E-mini. You can futures. That's where I've been using it, and that's where I was really developing it, specifically using the E-mini, because we saw a lot of great examples on E-mini markets. Because when in the intraday, when they're changing, you get a lot of different small time frame changes in the markets, and that's where I first started researching this. And so I thought, well, let me see how this works on daily bars. Let me see how this works on weekly or even monthly bars. And I'll show you some more examples of that in the course where you can go longer term as well. Okay. Let me see if there's another question. I see some people are asking. These are mainly questions for someone's asking about data. I would contact ProTrader Strategies, because they're the ones that are in charge of all the data sources, whether you want to trade data for crypto, if you want to trade data for currency pairs. And this basically is what it's really referring to as a tech support question. So they can handle that perfectly. Okay. Is this a divergent pattern? No, it's not. It has nothing to do with divergence. And if anyone's been privy to my presentations before, for the past 15 years, I've always stated about things that I have found that in my trading that have high levels of consistency, and others that don't work at all, in my opinion, and that are really basically urban myths. Things like overbought and oversold, in my opinion, is an urban myth. There's no such thing as overbought, oversold. We've seen markets continue to go higher and higher and higher for weeks, months, years, all the time being overbought. And we've seen markets continue to go lower and lower and lower, all the time being oversold. It's the same thing with divergence. Divergence is just too subjective. One trader's divergence could be another trader's, top or bottom. It just doesn't make sense. It's too subjective. It's too difficult to figure out, because someone can see it and someone else can say that's not a divergent pattern. So no, this is not based on any part of any type of divergence type of methodology. Okay. I don't trade divergence. I don't trade overbought, oversold. So it's not based on any of those things. Once again, it's based on a proprietary indicator and its relationship with itself. It's very unique and different, because it's monitoring its past action, tick by tick basis, to see where it stands at this moment. And when a certain requirement is met, that's telling you that most likely there's a very, very high probability the trend is changing. That's what I found out with this. And so that's all it's doing. It's just based on one proprietary indicating tool. Okay. Good questions. Now, if you would like more slides of this, if you want, I believe I may be giving another presentation later on in the week or next week. You'll see more. So if you're not convinced yet, but remember, I can't think of a better way that I would have wanted to get the PTR if I had known in advance to go short a full 2-3 weeks before the pandemic hit, that the trend was about to change, before that news even hit, and to go long at the bottom, because most likely a trend was changing to the upside. On top of that, just one day ago, last Friday, I can't think of a better way I could have avoided that if I were long CrowdStrike, or if I wanted to short it, that 2 weeks earlier, I had a trend change to the downside using the PTR. These are all things you could have taken advantage of. And they're happening all the time, over and over again. So I'll try to get some more setups for you. Go to our Twitter page. You'll be able to find a lot more interesting things. I'll tweet about them, and I'll show you exactly how they work. And take advantage of this great offer. Remember, new students get a full year of the platform, which comes with all these different techniques and methods and strategies. Also, you'll get the PTR one-click access, which comes with automatic stop placement, as well as automatic exiting points as well. Okay, great tool. And on top of that, you'll be privy to be one of the first people to start trading with it and be in my first inaugural class for the PTR. So this is a great way to take your trading to the next level. If you're a reversal trader at all, you cannot afford to not be involved with the PTR, okay? Contact ProTrader Strategies with any questions. They're there to help you. There's no obligation. If you just have more questions about data or the platform or the PTR itself, okay, give them a call at area code 310-598-6677. Now, as we close and take one last look at our disclaimer, thank you so much for attending today. I'm excited that you are interested in our new feature. I really think it can help you and take your trading to the next level. And I look forward to seeing all of you in the PTR course, which will be happening most likely in the next 2 to 4 weeks. Thank you so much. Hope to see you in class. Bye-bye.